A concept that seems to have lost its novelty, Money in the Bank. Now, years ago, there was a lot of hype for Money in the Bank because the briefcase brought a sense of credibility. It also brought an unpredictable factor that I personally feel isn't used to its full potential. In addition, it seems as if WWE sees Money in the Bank as a problem, and honestly, I wouldn't care if top stars won it because it's going to somebody they actually care about. I never used to think that in the past, but I'd rather see somebody like Seth Rollins win it, knowing that there might be a plan behind it. With that said, let's get into it. Okay, Money in the Bank in Los Angeles. Okay. Alexa Bliss, who had a great reaction from the crowd, featured in the match along with Roxanne Perez, Naomi, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, and Rhea Ripley, who had the best reaction by far. But this was by far one of the most star-studded Money in the Bank matches for the women. You can notice that it feels fresh and different. The women's division has a lot to offer in terms of the future, and I think WWE understands the excitement of the future's potential. I was mostly fine with any winner from this except Rhea Ripley. Not exactly for the same reasons as others, but it's not because she wins all the time or all that, but I think for a top talent like Rhea, she should have a variety of storylines under her belt without a title being the center of her focus for the entire year. Stephanie Vaquer wrestled 3 matches in the last 24 hours, including this one, which is something the commentary made sure to mention. The big story of this match was how this was Rhea's first ladder match. With that said, let's talk about it quick. A great spot from Roxanne off the springboard. She connected with a great moonsault, one of those where you barely complete it, and there wasn't many big spots in the first, and coming to realize the second half of the match as well. It was more about giving them turns to dominate. Great German here, but as the match is going on, there was this feeling of disappointment over my head in the middle of this one. I felt like this was overhyped. An issue I had with this match is that you could just skip towards a part of this match and you wouldn't miss much. Yeah, it's a holiday for Booker T, but they're not gonna trick me into thinking this was an incredible match. There was some spots in here, but it was very dull and slow, to be honest, and it was very disappointing because this was one of the most star-studded ladder matches that the woman had ever had. And didn't have the same feeling as last year. Last year, people were going all out, and that's the thing about this. I think the biggest issue with this match is that it didn't feel like they put their heart out for Money in the Bank. Naomi winning was well deserved. Obviously, I had guessed her as the winner before the event, but her victory, it didn't feel like she went through hell to earn it, and that's my issue with this match. I would have hoped for something much more with this women's Money in the Bank match, especially seeing as the last one was the best one for the women's. So I was always going to see this as disappointing, seeing as they didn't have the same energy or the same vibe as last year. Dominic Mysterio defended the Intercontinental Championship against Octagon Jr. of AAA. This was set up at the Worlds Collide event a couple of hours earlier. Now, this was a very quick match that seemed like an introduction to Octagon Jr. I was a bit surprised that this was added to the event, but it's a welcoming addition. They didn't have much time, but Octagon got to make the most out of it and develop a highlight reel of sorts. Nam was busy provoking the AAA guys such as Vikingo and Blue Demon, while the challenger was entirely focused on winning the match. Honestly, I don't really have much to say about this. It follows the same formula for Dom's matches and was mostly an easy victory for him, you know, but we got to see Octagon Jr. just for 5 minutes. He showed something there. Lyra Valkyria, Becky Lynch, the Women's Intercontinental Championship is on the line. I can't say enough good things about this match. It was by far the standout of this show to me, personally, and gave the Women's Intercontinental Championship a lot of importance. They had a lot of stakes for this one, with Becky promising to never challenge for the title if she loses, whereas Lyra has to raise Becky's hand if she loses the title. There was an underlying pressure for Becky Lynch here that I thought was very well done. She had the confidence, but the desperation was just radiating from her as time went on. There was a lot of great spots in this match. Lyra in particular was a master at showing that fighting spirit, whereas Becky on the other hand was much more impactful and hit moves with ferocity. The match ended the way I thought it would, with Becky cheating to win, but the journey to get there was great. Lyra's coming out of this feud in a much better position than she was months earlier, so the feud did its job. The follow-up with Becky and Lyra shows that this is far from over. Maybe they could explore it later on, or they could just continue straight up. Perhaps they put it on hold for the Bayley story, but it also showed you that Lyra wasn't going to accept being thrown around like she's a joke. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match: Andrade, Seth Rollins, LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, Penta, and El Grande Americano. This was a great set of talent that would take risks and go crazy. We've seen a couple of these guys in some crazy spots over the years. Now, there was one big favorite in this match, and they clearly stand out. Solo Sikoa. But Seth Rollins as the favorite is clear as day, and whoever comes second isn't even close. I feel that's a bit of an issue with this match, but then again, even if they did add Priest or Drew, who aren't around recently, it wasn't going to stop us from guessing Seth Rollins is the winner. With that said, this match had some exciting spots. Solo's having fun by the looks of it. The spots in here looked more impactful than the women's one, and it established Money in the Bank as a valuable prize. The sponsored ladder was up for display here, but we all knew that it would end up badly for El Grande Americano. He wrestled 2 matches yesterday. We saw him take a freaking German suplex in the top of the ladder, and everyone was convinced that LA Knight was winning. But this spot was ridiculous. Like, this is the one that stands out to me during this match. Then the run-ins happened. Rollins' guys, Solo's guys, and Jacob Fatu had one of the best reactions on the show, and it would only get better once he turned face. The part where he shouted, hey, you. I was laughing so much. It was just funny. Solo died and was eliminated from the match, but it was well done. The fans have been reacting crazy to Jacob Fatu for a bit now, and the best part is that he's maintained these reactions for several months. So that tells you something about him. Rollins kills LA Knight and wins the Money in the Bank. If you're like, why'd you say it so quickly? Well, that's what happened. This was very expected. I think it's a matter of playing it safe, but personally, I don't mind the main event talent winning the briefcase because they'll make the most out of it. The novelty of Money in the Bank being a platform for rising stars diminished in the last couple of years, and also it's way easier for Triple H to have Seth Rollins as Money in the Bank as opposed to LA Knight. I wanted LA Knight to win. I think he deserved it. The fans did as well, but just thinking about it from a negative point of view, I just think they'll blow it and everyone except Knight himself will regret the run. And I really hate that because other than Rollins, LA Knight is the most likely candidate. With that said, a Rollins run is the safest thing, and that's something I've noticed from Triple H over the last couple of years because this story of power is so simple to make without Money in the Bank, but they just had to do this outcome. Other than that, this match was pretty good. It was missing some of the excitement from previous Money in the Bank matches, but even then, there's a lot to enjoy with this one. It's not going to be a favorite Money in the Bank, hell, I probably won't even remember this a year from now, but it was enjoyable to watch. And the main event, John Cena and Logan Paul faced Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, one of the weirdest pay-per-view matches in recent memory. Now, when this was announced, I didn't care for it and actually thought it was a waste, seeing as this was Cena's final year and they're treating it like he's in the middle of his career. But it's about the engagement in the clip when it comes to WWE and TKO in 2025. That's unfortunate. That said, I actually liked this match a bit more than expected. I still think it was too long, but I found enjoyment in it. Cody Rhodes worked really hard here to get something out of John Cena, but you also saw a different Jey Uso who was in his element. A tag team match. This is exactly what he's familiar with. I did like John Cena's performance more here. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but there's actually some hope for me that is going to end this run in a great way, but maybe it's me being delusional, I don't know. He had some good interactions, good sequences here. Logan Paul does what he usually does. I know that moment with the superplex was a bit clickbait, but I still liked that. I thought it was a good spot. The announce table thing, Logan Paul was going crazy here. The match was pretty slow initially. Well, for the most part, until Cody Rhodes got the tag later on. That's when everything picked up and it got crazy. But Cody Rhodes was the standout here. He brought a lot out of those two. And those two had a big-ass ego throughout this match. They were butting heads. At one point, Logan accidentally knocked down Cena, whereas Cody and Jey Uso worked more as a tag team. The match picks up, it got exciting, there's a big spot, all that. Then from out of nowhere, Cena decided he wanted to cheat again, and this is when a mystery man comes out. He knocks him down, and it turns out to be R-Truth, and the fans went insane. They gave one of the craziest reactions in the entire show for R-Truth. And that's one thing to mention because we heard "We Want R-Truth" chants during the show. Personally, I don't think this is a part of the storyline. I think they just realized they messed up and got him. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't really care, but Truth is back. Rhodes gets the winner, and of course he's going to shift his focus on regaining the title now. The question is, will it be in Atlanta or will it be in New York for SummerSlam? That's the question. As for Truth, John Cena's run is already messy as it is. I'd take him giving Cena a fight at Night of Champions at this point because this run is just weird. If it was a title versus career match though, that'd help fulfill its full potential, but I don't see it. So by the looks of it, R-Truth or Ron the Truth Killings just might be John Cena's next challenger again. I personally would prefer for Cena to face much bigger opposition, but if they're gonna do it, they might as well do it now. But yeah, this was a solid match. It's good to see R-Truth back. I don't care if it's a work, as they say, or they actually renegotiated, which I'm leaning towards. And the locker room themselves weren't exactly happy that someone like R-Truth, someone who's a strong figure in the locker room, was released. I feel like TKO should just understand that because there's certain wrestlers that they shouldn't let go just for the morale of the locker room. We see some squads in basketball, football, soccer, where they keep a certain player around just for the morale of the locker room. And I think R-Truth is a good addition when it comes to that. Yeah, I thought this was an enjoyable match. I saw people hated it. I didn't hate it, honestly. Thought there was something to enjoy, but it's mostly because I came into it not expecting much. So there's that. Alright, that's Money in the Bank. Not my favorite Money in the Bank show, but the two matches to look out for are the Intercontinental Championship match and the men's Money in the Bank match. I didn't like the women's match. It felt too safe and very soft. It felt like it wasn't Money in the Bank, and it also felt like they weren't fighting for one of the most valuable prizes you could win in the WWE. That's my issue with it. Other than that, the event flies by quick. Obviously, you get the ads, all that, the promotion, blah, 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 but the matches weren't bad. You know, I didn't hate the matches at all. Alright, what you guys think of Money in the Bank 2025? Please comment down below, and that's it for this video. Make sure you hit Crossroads on the like button or perhaps the AA on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.